Hello, Facebook fam, Instagram fam, Twitter fam. I'm over here in Elmwood, about to meet with a friend of mine in a few. But just kind of wanted to briefly go over, I guess I can recap my day. It was an interesting day. We had some folks to chime in about the video we put out, Black versus White. Most of you guys kind of really saw what the point was, but a couple of people didn't. And I came to the conclusion that it just was the condition of their heart, the stage of life that they're in. Because, a couple of them was kind of like unnecessarily blowing up for no reason at all. But that brings me down to what the topic is today. And the question is Kevin Samuels right about our sisters? Is Kevin Samuels right about our sisters? So in my view, I think that Kevin Samuels put out a lot of, valid points, but I could sense, through his hurt, from his past experience with the sisters that, he can articulate his point, but he tries to put his foot on his sister's neck. That's just out of his hurt. But what he didn't understand was the spiritual side of the sister, and which I will attempt to explain what that is. Man, we've been putting our sisters through a lot of hurt, a lot of pain, the lying, the cheating, giving them babies and not taking care of them, and the old story, the lack of accountability, and over time, we have gotten our women out of their true selves. So most of them had to harden their heart up, and they got to go out and make the money and, all this stuff while we over here BSing. So whatever you're receiving right now is kind of like is on us. A wise man once said, there's no such thing as a no good woman. Whenever you see a no good woman, that means that there's a no good man that made her that way. And that's 1,000% correct. Because I've seen it in my sisters. I've seen it in, female friends that I have over the years. Like, I would meet a sister and, she would be a pure good sister. And then, later on the road, depending on what type of interactions that she may have, that nice, pure, good sister be turned into a fighter. You know what I mean? And what happens is when that sister, interact with a brother that's striving to do the right thing, then they can't adjust, like they can't turn around what's already been, converted into a contentious heart. And that's the fight that we see right now. But there's a two-way street to it. The two-way street is, I can give you an example of my freshman year in college at Dillard University. I would observe on the college campus as to when, so like a brother, start their freshman year, right? And they coming from like a small town, freshman year, nice brother, making good grades, very, very respectful, and I noticed that the sisters didn't want to give any type of attention to that type of brother. The sisters back in that day just wanted to get with the frat, the frat that, that they running through all these women on campus, but yet you're going to try to, establish some type of relationship with a frat. And that was never going to go down, in a way that how one should be, relating to each other. You wanted the athlete, you wanted the drug dealer, but that's what y'all wanted. Let's just be honest. All the women, that I talk to today, 90% of them is either dated a drug dealer or dated somebody that just wasn't really for them, and they passed up the so-called nice guy, but when they get a certain age and get all the hurt and all the rejection, but now they want the guy who they passed up, during a freshman college, but let me tell you, but let me explain to you what the dynamics of that is. I also noticed that when that brother come from the small town, he's on campus, right? So, I mean, he's a certain way. He's nice, you know what I'm saying? Like, he's respectful, right? But he's not really getting any attention, but yet, I mean, he see that frat over there. I mean, that brother that got the letters on his chest is getting all the, getting all the attention from the women. So then he thinks to himself and he say, well, I mean, maybe I should kind of really go into that particular role. So, I mean, let me pledge. So now you got a brother that started out being good and genuine. He's pledged. I mean, nothing against fraternities, but I'm just being real as to how I saw it, and now he has letters, and now he's become that which he think he has to become in order to get attention. So because of the rejection, you guys have turned a decent brother into something that now you guys claim that you don't want. So then that's the two dynamics, man, that we have to be very honest with ourselves, because I'm not trying to say that I'm an angel, but me and my friends, we kind of considered ourselves not on that all the way deep end of negativity and disrespecting the sister and bees and hoes and gangsters and dealing drugs and, you know what I mean, and all the wild shit. So it's two sides to it, and I think we ought to put this stuff out on the table, because we won't begin to heal and understand. So if I'm an advocate for the sister, then I would talk to the brothers and say, man, you have to understand who this sister is. I mean, this ain't no just regular person that just popped up. I mean, this is the mother of civilization. A wise man also said, you could tell the condition of the people by the mindset of the woman, right? Because the woman is the first teacher to the child. Like, that's real nation building. But yet, I mean, we go off, and do our stuff, and then we expect, that our communities is going to kind of like miraculously heal up, get better, right? But we doing dirt with our own people. It's almost like we killing our own people, right? Like, we already have enough opposition that's out here, but it's like we just killing our own people, man, spiritually and physically, So we think all of that dirt, that we have done before in the past is just going to get swept under the rug, and we're not going to pay for all the evil acts, that we have done to ourselves, to our communities, So like 2023, we going through the same thing, man. You know what I'm saying? I mean, the families ain't strong. I mean, the disrespect, like amongst the genders is at an all-time high, and we expect to kind of really be strong, because what we have to understand is that we have an opposition out there. The opposition, studies us. So the opposition know our weak points better than we know. And we just fall in line, man. It's like we just sheep with this thing, man. But we have to be able to reconnect with that woman, because that's the key. That's the key to community development, right? We have to make sure, that our women are at peace, man. Because when that happens, then that's when you start to build the strong communities, the lack of the black on black violence and all of that, man. Like, we have to begin to start to do this thing right. It's no longer pointing fingers and all of this other stuff, and this person is doing that and this person is doing that, man. We have to begin to kind of be accountable, for our actions on both sides, right? So that's an advocate for the sisters. Now, on the other side, I could be an advocate for the brothers. God said in the Bible that there's a natural hierarchy in life. It ain't me, it ain't an expert, it ain't a psychologist or a psychiatrist or somebody who wrote a book about it. You're talking about the supreme being, the Lord of the world, specifically said that there's a natural hierarchy. It's God, woman, and child, right? So that means that you have to, when you're interacting with the brothers, you have to not be like a robot and let somebody tell you all what you do, but you have to submit yourself to the man. It's never going to work. I don't care how many bad experiences you had in the past. You have to clean yourself up, and the laws of attraction in the universe is going to respond, and they're going to put that brother into your area because you're going to have the ability to will him into your existence. Because you have that power. But the law of attraction also could say, depending on, your state of mind and the condition of your heart, that you'll will somebody just where you at. So, if you get in these people that's not for you, then that means that you need to clean your act up. A lot of times y'all say, oh, this or that, say, man, I can do bad by myself, I'm gonna go get my degree, so like these are the points, man, that Kevin Samuels brought out, because, you get into that independent mind state, and you get the job, you get the house, you might still be lonely, and then you feel like you have to go back to school and get a PhD, but you're losing all your feminine power. It's feminine power that one must have on the female side, to make this magic work. But you have to clean up on the inside and chisel out that hard heart. Otherwise, it's not going to work. What's up, brother Mark? So, man, it's just, man, we just battling against each other. So now, the brothers is looking outside their race, because they'll be with like a Latina or like an Asian sister, And the treatment is different, But that could be hypocritical on our end because we didn't clean our act up, but we gonna, desert the sister, and then go dating outside of our race. So, man, it's a lot of confusion, man, but we need to begin to start to put this stuff out on the table, man, so that we could heal, So, a lot of y'all sisters didn't like Kevin Samuels, Kevin Samuels made a lot of valid points, because you think that you have the job and the career, you think that you could just run over the man and don't submit yourself, but that's not how nature is designed, so that's why many of you guys are just by yourself. You might have a couple of bunch of friends, but you haven't found that soulmate yet, because you haven't gotten to the point where you want to be a woman, spiritually and physically. And ever since I moved back to New Orleans, man, that I've been getting a lot of rah from sisters that I don't even understand where all this negativity is coming from. For no reason at all. It's like we can't come together and do nothing, man. There's so much rah, this, I'm going to do this my way. And, I know God got my back. That's always the way out. Well, God got me. God loved me. Yeah, he do. But God, works through people. You know what I'm saying? If God put a brother that's striving to do the right thing, in your circle, and you reject that, Because I've heard sisters say this. I've heard sisters say, "Oh, girl, he too nice." I want a roughneck. What the hell? What type of logic is that? So is it on our part, that we have trained our sisters, to want the thug? Or is it just what they just been, thinking that's what they want? You know what I'm saying? And that's where the error is at, man. And I'm getting to the point that, I used to be a brother that would sympathize with the sister, but I'm looking at it differently now. And I have to be bold and blunt with the sister. Like when y'all get into those modes, I have to let you guys know what's going on. Saying, and a lot of sisters will look at it as like, oh, you, and all this other stuff. You know what I mean? But I have to be bluntly honest. You guys have to tap back into your feminine nature. You have to clean your spiritual side up, your physical side up, and you have to recognize that like how God told you to be,
in terms of relating to men is how you should be. Otherwise, once you go against that, I mean, you're not going against me. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're going against God. You know what I mean? That person that you claim and clap your hands with every Sunday, and God got this, and God got my back, and all of this other stuff. And you know what I mean? Come on, man. So is Kevin Samuels right about our sisters? I would say that he makes some valid points. You know, like one major point is being submissive to the man. Not as, you know what I mean, that we want you to be a robot, but you have to have a certain level of when you have to allow that man to lead, you know, because God is working through the man to help the whole unit happen, right? So women by nature are natural, you know, consolers. Like, your job is to kind of really rear that family and to kind of really steer that ship, you know, because you guys are like the backbone of this thing, you know. But the attitude, you know what I mean, that you guys have now, it's never gonna, you know, I mean, it's never gonna work. You know, I mean, it's never gonna work. So, I mean, the two sides have to come together, man, and begin to heal, man, you know, and to be brutally honest with ourselves. You know what I mean? I'm not trying to say, you know what I mean, and I'm no angel, because I'm part of the whole destructive process myself. You know what I mean? Because I mishandled some women in my life too. You know what I mean? But you got to ask for forgiveness, and you have to move into a direction of you know, like, you have to move into a direction that you really want to turn from them negative ways, you know, that you have to actively do this every day. You know what I mean? Not just on Sundays, not just on, you know what I mean? Like, you have to do this every day. You know what I mean? And I'm seeing that's why we're always at odds. You know, I mean, I had a conversation with a sister today, man, and we were like, man, I don't know where all this coming from. You know what I mean? And we was like going blow for blow, and I was trying to hold up, because in the past, I mean, I would just delete her and just go on. You know what I mean? But we have to start, like, you know what I mean, having a dialogue, you know what I mean, and putting this stuff out on the table. And, you know, I mean, I let her get all her stuff out. You know, I got all my stuff out, you know, and we eventually kind of came to some type of, you know what I mean, agreement. You know what I mean? Once we got everything off of our chest, you know, and now we, you know, I mean, I guess we halfway decent, huh? You know what I mean? But it was a teaching moment for me, you know, because I had to listen to where she was coming from. And then I had to have her, you know what I mean, to listen to where I was coming from, you know, and how I see things, you know what I mean, and how my friends see things, you know, like a group of us to see that, you know, like in certain interactions, you know what I mean, that we would have with the sister, that they would be negatively, you know, that they would respond negatively over stuff that just don't even make no kind of sense. You know what I mean? Not wanting to compromise, not wanting to listen to, you know, any type of suggestions or none of that. You know what I mean? It's the type of sister, you know what I mean, that we characterize as like a sister that's set into their ways. You know? And that's a sister that's hard to deal with, you know, because there's no leadership that's coming from the man, because she's not going to listen to nothing that you say, period. You know? And then out of frustration, you know what I mean, the man go ahead on, you know what I mean, and take their ball, you know what I mean, and go home. You know what I'm saying? I mean, out of frustration. You know, and then now we seeking to get with the Latinas and, you know, the people from Brazil and all of this other stuff, because, you know, those people are not as destroyed as the sister. You know what I mean? Those people still have, you know, I mean, some of their, you know, feminine essence. You know what I mean? Rather being like this rah person all the time. You know. So, you know, to answer the question, is Kevin Samuels right about our sisters? I would say that he had some valid points, you know, but Kevin Samuels, through his hurt, you know what I mean, in my view, you know, I mean, he put his foot on the sister's throat because he didn't understand the spiritual makeup of what had happened, man, because we dealing on two planes, you know what I'm saying? I mean, we have the physical plane, and we have the spiritual plane, and both have to meet and harmonize, each other. But I kind of wanted to touch on that. Hopefully, I think this video is going to go on my timeline, and then I'll share it with you guys, because I know it's about, it's 6 o'clock Central, 7 o'clock Eastern. I know you guys getting ready for the Easter egg hunt. We're not going to dwell into that. Maybe later or maybe next year. I'll bring up the holidays, but I don't want to talk about that right now. But our focus, man, is the mental health. The stage, the mental state, of our people. And I'm going to be, breaking down some key occurrences in my life from a testimonial standpoint that one should study, because I'm still studying, and, we're just going to deep dive into the mental, the spiritual side of it, and hopefully, through the dialogue, we can come away from these talks, man, and start to begin to heal, man. But I'm about to log out. I'm about to have dinner at the spot called the Boulevard over in Elmwood, Harahan, part of, New Orleans. I think today is Thursday. I think many of you guys are probably going to be off tomorrow, so I'll probably shoot the Mental Health Ministry podcast and go a little bit deeper inside of when one is going through the depression and, the warning signs and, if you're going through depression now, if you know somebody that's dealing with depression, how to kind of really treat that person, so we're going to definitely go deep inside of that, because I think it's needed. Because when I'm starting to share my story with others, man, I'm starting to understand that many of us, it's either that we dealing with depression, or we know somebody that's dealing with depression, or some family member, or, we might be going through depression and we're not even realizing it. You know what I'm saying? But I got some revelations, man, and it's divine, and the God is encouraging me to share it. And this is first time in my life, man. If anybody know me on this live, they know I don't really, I'll talk about something, but I ain't never been this transparent in my life. That's just the spirit is just trying to nudging me every day, to get these thoughts off my mind and chest. And as a result, the people that's kind of really, the people that's kind of really, Mark, I'm trying to bring you in. Anyway, I'm going to get the IT side of it right. I'm just kind of really shooting off the cuff right now. But yeah, man, so I just kind of wanted to touch on that, man. I hope, you got some insight into it. But we're going to have that podcast, the mental health podcast on Friday. I'll probably go on Facebook and shoot with the time, man. So, you guys enjoy the rest of your evening. It's Ben J. Willard logging out. Peace out.